take 3 deep, conscious, healing breaths. We allow that deep breath to take us into the core of our being, where we access the peace and the strength and the wisdom and the courage. We access the mighty I Am presence. We access Holy Spirit. We access the kingdom of heaven within. We access the eternal one presence, one power. We access our awareness that we are eternal spiritual beings. We always have been, we always will be. And we live in this dimension of ever-changing form and shape. We are very courageous to have said yes to living this human experience. We are among the most creative beings. We are among the most daring and bold beings. We said yes to walking as human beings on this planet. We said yes from our realm of divine and holy and eternal consciousness, knowing that walking as human beings, we would be asked to embrace the sadness, the heartbreak, the anger, the jealousy, the uncertainty, and more importantly, we knew that we would be asked to open our hearts to so much love that we would not be able to contain it all in these tiny human hearts, that we would be invited to open to the huge, eternal, spiritual heart. And we knew when we said yes that there would be days when we would forget. And there would be days when our heart would hurt so much that we would not want to open it any further. And so we take a deep breath. And we do something very bold. We set intention and give permission to remember who we are before we took embodiment. Who we are before we took this physical form in this particular dimension, in this particular reality and universe. It is very bold to remember who we are. It is very, very bold to remember our magnificence and our light. And even more bold to make another commitment again and again and again to express who we are and facing the fullness of who we are. We whisper to ourselves. We whisper in our heart of hearts. Would you be willing to stop pretending that you don't know who you are? In our heart of hearts, we whisper this to those that we're holding in prayer. And we whisper this to all our leaders, and we whisper this to people in villages and circles and mosques and churches and cathedrals and temples everywhere. Are we willing to remember who we are? We hold in our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. We call forth healing for our human family. Healing meaning wholeness. We call forth the wholeness. And we say yes. Yes to the mighty I Am presence. This is who we are, and this is who we've come to be. And once again, we say, so it is, and so we let it be. Namaste. Good morning. Let there be light. Woo! I'm getting so good at that. How many of you stood in front of the mirror this morning and said, let there be light? Well, this is something that I needed to do this morning. And I'm just guessing that many of us in the world right now are needing that. Just look into your own eyes and say, let there be light. You know, it's as simple as that. We have a creation story where God said what? What are the first three words? Let there be. Of course, it's a creation story. You can look at it as a myth. You can look at it as literal. It doesn't matter. The message is the same. God said, let there be, and there was. Light, firmament, oceans, the land, the animals, the life forms. Let there be. So what do we want in our lives to be saying those three words with? Let there be what? Light. And these past several weeks, in my heart, I've been saying, let there be revival. Let there be a renewing of vitality and energy so strong that I can feel that river of life that Jesus talked about moving through me and around me. I want that. We all need revival from time to time. And it is a good thing to say, let there be revival. Call the elders of the church. Call the musicians. Call the people who are powerful, praying people. Call the healers. Call the teachers. Let there be a revival. And right now, I don't know about what you're seeing, but my world needs revival.
Amen.
My world needs for the elders to step up, for the teachers to step up, for the healers to step up, for the ones who can see rightly and hear rightly, for the ones who are having the eyes to see and the ears to hear. We need revival. I do. I need it. And you know, 4 or 5 years ago, when we would run into Dale Worley at the sub-region unity meetings, I'd say, you know, Dale, why don't you come to our church and do a revival? Because even though he's a unity minister, he's from Unity of Savannah, even though he's a unity minister, he talks and walks and preaches like an old-time revival minister with new thought messages. It doesn't get any better for me. Maybe for you. But for me, that's like a formula that I can look forward to stir up the energy. Sometimes we just gotta stir it up, little darling, stir it up. What do you mean? So where does revival come from? Does it come from the music? Does it come from the words? Does it come from the minister? Does it come from the teachers? Where does revival come from? What? All of those things encourage and inspire us. Where revival comes from,
The
where
heart.
they point to your heart.
The heart.
Yeah. Revival comes from here. So I can come into this church on Sunday morning, and I tell you, getting here early is the best thing. Because you get revived before the service ever starts.
That's right.
With the music. And you know, I have to tell you, this group up here, there's one of them who receives a very small check for being our music leader. The rest are here because they love music and they love to help stir up the energy. Just that alone gives me revival. There are people in the world who show up without any promise of getting paid, and they do remarkable things. We all know this, and you're all sitting here. So,
And we do get paid.
What?
And we do get paid. It's just not cash.
So, where does revival come from? Jesus said the life energy, the river of life, that's all happening within us. That's the revival energy. It's in us. We don't have to go out to the revival store and buy some. It's already within us. But the point is, we stir it up. And we stir it up in a lot of different ways. We put on the music that we love. We do our prayers. We do our silence. We do our meditation. We work in our garden. We play with our grandchildren. We do what brings us revival. We have to. And, Luna Grace, Bunny's granddaughter, she walked up here to the altar and she said, "Who's that?" I said, "Well, that's Jesus." And this particular picture is known as the laughing Jesus. Why do you think we keep a picture of a laughing Jesus on the altar? To remind us that even in the midst of the world going wacky, you think Jesus ever paused to think, my world has gone insane? Do you ever think he paused to think that? Time to time, Jesus said, "I'm going to go up to the mountains for a little while and just get some alone time. I'm going to Oakland." I went up to the mountains to lay my head down, to get some rest. With all that he knew and all that he saw happening in his world, there were times when Jesus wept. What I know for sure, me and Oprah, what I know for sure is that this was the overriding, ever-present inner awareness that Jesus carried. It's what Carol referenced in her opening remarks today. This joy that is at the core of us, and it is up to us to uncover it. Right? It's not something that we have to go out and get. It's already there. It's one of the gifts of the Spirit. So, let me explain Tesla to you. We are still attempting to understand this scientist, this inventor. We're still attempting to understand what he was trying to tell us. He was obviously onto some things that were way ahead of the masses at that time, and he lived at the turn of the century. He was a mind in the world generating ideas when Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were starting this movement. There must have been an incredible time. Thinkers and inventions and ideas. And he saw ways of using electrical energy that no one had ever seen before. And as a matter of fact, his vision, and it's still possible, it's always been possible, that free energy be provided for the whole world, no cost.
Amen.
He knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. So Tesla, he used to give himself treatments of electricity. We use this in the world today. It's been being used for a long time. But he caught hold of a way, and he said, it puts into a tired body what it needs most: life force. Now we can do electricity treatments, or we can come to Qigong tomorrow night and stir up the energy that way. And Qigong moves the life energy through us. Lots of other ways to do that. Tesla said, this energy is available to us all the time. He was inspired by Eastern philosophy, specifically Swami Vivekananda. At the same time that our very founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, were looking into Eastern philosophy, there was a huge awareness that ancient wisdom, thousands of years old, was in fact something that we needed to look into, something that we needed to take hold of and grasp. He said that because he started looking into Eastern philosophy, that he could sense that the universe is a symphony of vibrations and waves. The universe is vibration. And you and I know, it's no secret, we've all been experiencing it our whole life. Sometimes we feel the energy is really low, really low. And sometimes we experience the energy very high and vibrant. And you and I have the ability to access enlivening energy in every moment. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you think you had to go somewhere to get it? Now we go to places to get inspired and get encouraged. We go to the books, we go to the practitioners, the healers, the teachers, the churches, the temples, the synagogues, the movies. We go to get inspired in different ways. Really, what turns on the life energy is when we say, we open our hearts to receive it. We open our hearts to feel it. We open our hearts to generate it. We are generating this energy all the time. Tesla also said we are whirling through space at an inconceivable speed. Everything is spinning. Everything is energy. We can avail ourselves of this energy. What's the next word? Completely. I would love to sit down and have dinner with Tesla.
Mm.
You know that movie, My Dinner with Andre? I would love my dinner with Tesla. Now here's the thing. Because the information of the universe, knowledge and wisdom, is always with us as eternal spiritual beings, we can, in a way, sit down and have dinner with the powerhouse people that we honor and celebrate. Who would you have dinner with? Just put out a name. Who? Barbara Streisand. All right. Who would you sit down if you had some questions that you wanted to ask?
Deepak.
Deepak Chopra. Who else?
Wayne Dyer.
Wayne Dyer. Marianne Williamson. Who would you sit down and have dinner with just to have a conversation that stirs up the energy? Gandhi. Ernest Holmes. Okay. Who else? Who? Butterworth. Who else?
You, for $9.95, you can get Margaret next Friday.
What?
For $9.95, you can have dinner with Margaret next Friday.
Now, take a deep breath. If you knew that you had the power to access the wisdom of the universe, would you sit down and have dinner with yourself?
Mm-hmm.
We call that meditation. We call it silence. We call it prayer. The wisdom of the universe was in Tesla and Jesus and Butterworth and Marianne Williamson. And the wisdom of the universe is in each one of us. Have dinner with yourself. Stir up the energy. Listen. Listen. What Tesla caught hold of, we catch hold of. What Jesus caught hold of, we catch hold of. What Gandhi caught hold of, we catch hold of. And that's one of the reasons when you and I are feeling the weight of what's going on in the world, or in our lives, in our children's lives, our grandchildren's lives, we feel the heaviness. Remember Jesus said, my yoke is easy and my burden is
Light.
light. Things can feel really hard and really heavy, and if we don't remember that what we carry is light, then we're going to be sucked into the abyss. Good news is we can jump back up. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we can all be changed. How do we do that? Well, let's see. Gary Sukoff, whose book we're reading in Wednesday Book Group, by choosing your thoughts and by selecting which emotional currents you will release and which you will reinforce, you determine the quality of your life. You determine the effects that you will have upon others and the nature of the experiences of your life. There's a lot of words there, I'm going to leave it on the screen for a few seconds. Gary Sukov is another powerhouse thinker. He's another kind of Tesla, only he's not working with electricity, he's working with the current of our thoughts and our vibration and our awareness and our feelings. And what he's saying is, and this is outlandish, this is really very bold, he's saying that it's us, you and me, that determine the quality of our light. That we determine the effects that we have upon others and the nature of the experiences of our lives. Where does he get this? He listens. Does he listen with physical hearing, the way I'm pointing to the ear? He listens with spiritual hearing. For those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. And yet, you and I, please hear, I'm included in this, knowing this. And we all sit here going, almost every one of you, your heads are bobbing like this. We know this. And yet, do we still get trapped in the illusion that the way it is in this moment, looking crazy and nuts, is the way it's going to always be? We get trapped there, don't we? Oh my God! And we go into that abyss and say, this is the worst it's ever been, and this is the way it's going to be. Aren't we adorable? Revival for me is like that story from the Bible where the woman touched the hem of Jesus' garment. Remember that story? Mm-hmm. And she was instantly healed. And Jesus didn't say, go home and light a candle and put my image on your altar because I have healed you. He didn't say that. Jesus said, what?
Your faith has made you free.
Your faith has made you whole. The reaching out and touching the hem of his garment. Now, metaphysically, we can look at this idea. We reach to touch this consciousness. We reach with our consciousness to touch this one presence consciousness. We reach with our own thoughts. We reach with our own feelings. We reach with our own open-heartedness to touch the consciousness that every culture and every religion has taught about. We want to touch the kingdom of having consciousness. We reach with our consciousness to touch it. And that's in a way, that's calling for revival. You call for the revival of your soul. I call for the revival of my soul. The renewing of my mind by reaching with my consciousness to a higher perspective. I know my world appears to be in trouble, so I'm going to reach for a higher perspective. And the only way I can do it is with my consciousness. That's the only way we can do it. And that, for me, is revival. So where does revival come from? To stir up the energy in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. Another Bible story where Lazarus was dead in the tomb, and Jesus said, well, just go ahead, open up the tomb, let's see what we can do. And the sisters of Lazarus said, oh, Lord, Jesus, he's been in there 4 days, that body's going to stink. One of the scriptures in the Bible, a good one to remember, behold, he stinketh. So in our thoughts, have you ever had thoughts that you could say, behold, that thought stinketh? Have you ever had thoughts or feelings or ideas or making up stories about your life or somebody else's life or the world? And you realize later on when you come to yourself, when you come back to yourself, you realize, oh boy, I put out some wacky energy there with that thought, with that word, with that story. Have you ever told a story to yourself and others to make it even more juicy? And then you found out it wasn't true? Well, there is a story we tell ourselves all the time in many, many different ways. Individually, collectively, we tell a story. We're not good enough. We're not powerful enough. We're not the brightest light. We're not the happiest one. We're not doing our lives well. We tell our stories. We tell the stories over, 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 over. And somebody comes into your awareness, a book, a writer, many of you love Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, a writer says something, or a song, the words of a song, or you'll see something in a movie that inspires you, and you feel this reviving spirit stirring. And then you might say to yourselves, well, I'm going to seize onto that energy. I'm going to seize onto that awakened consciousness. Or I'm just going to stay in the place where I can't see the light. Nobody else's, much less my own. And we all do it. So for me, revival is about stirring up the energy so I forget less, I remember more, and I continually tap into this reviving, renewing river of life within me. I have to, or I'm going to fold up and crawl away and never come out. I wonder if y'all ever feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world, I think, is feeling tired. And so, in our little way, sitting in these chairs or standing here today, we call for revival in our own hearts and in our own consciousness. We have to call for it. And if you really want to have fun, go to a revival. If you really want to have fun, go to a Pentecostal tent revival. But we're not going to have that here. We're going to have another kind of New Thought revival next Friday night. So in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, and then we get to the message, Meher Baba spoke it, and then it was put to a song. And it's so simple, don't worry, be happy. It's like the song earlier that we sang, there will be sadness, there will be jealousy, there will be anger. Embrace it, hold it, love on it, and then release yourself into the joy, the peace, the gratitude, the wonder. Meher Baba didn't say, don't feel sadness. Meher Baba didn't say, don't feel anger. He simply said, don't ruminate on it. Don't worry. Don't keep making that story or that emotion what guides your life. Let it pass through your life. It will pass through your life, every single one of us. Don't worry. Let happiness be the guiding energy. Does that make sense to y'all?
Absolutely.
It seems it's not working the other way. You know, it seems that worry or negative visioning is taking our world in a direction that we might want to consider not going. Because there's something else alive in us. It is the greatest mystery for me still that in the deepest moments of sadness and heartbreak, the greatest mystery that we can call forth life out of that tomb where there was death. It is the greatest mystery that where there was despair, we can bring hope. Where there was anger, we can bring forgiveness. Where there was judgment and prejudice, we can bring love and compassion. That to me is the greatest mystery. And it's also doing all that Jesus did in greater. That to me is revival. Because a few of you have asked, well, what's Unity doing having a revival? And I say, what's Unity doing not having a revival? We better have a revival because our movement needs revival and people in the world need revival. So let's all take a deep breath. Close our eyes for a moment. We call forth revival. That's what we do for ourselves right now. In our hearts and minds, let our minds be made new. And our hearts be opened even more deeply. What we do in our lives impacts what's happening in the whole world. What we feel, what we think, what we say impacts the whole collective. just to think on these things, to think on this idea of reviving and renewing and regenerating. This helps it to happen. And so we give thanks right now for revival and renewal and regeneration in our bodies, our hearts, and our minds, our emotions. We give thanks for revival, for healing, for miracles. Oh, yes, miracles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We say, so it is, and so we let it be. Namaste.
Namaste.
And now, I wish we could have that song. Don't worry, be happy. Could we? Okay. This is yours now.
Ask and it is given, right? So now as the musicians prepare, we ask the ushers to come forward. And we have the privilege and the opportunity to share our abundance with our spiritual community and revive ourselves in that process. So we have a blessing that we do. We can do this together. I am light, flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace. flow through me, blessing these gifts to radiate.
And before Margaret gets a hold of this microphone, we would like to obviously welcome everybody, but especially anybody who's new here or has not been here for a while. We'd love to have you join us downstairs for a little coffee and a little snack. Of course, everybody's welcome, but we would also like to especially get to know you. Thanks.
All righty, so quickly, our Unity Conference at Panuga up near Asheville will be September 23rd through the 26th. Reverend Jim Lee from Warren, Michigan Unity, one of the biggest Unity churches in the movement, happens to be in a depressed area near Detroit. So they're doing it there. We want to hear more about that. And Reverend Barry Dennis will also be one of the keynotes, along with some great workshop facilitators who we know and love. And others. So those flyers are downstairs. Next Unity Board meeting is Tuesday, August 19th. Some of you have proposals for this church. If you want your proposal to be considered at that meeting, it needs to be in writing to us by August 12th. And if you are going to Panuga, David's reminding us that the early bird special is coming up soon, the submission date, so see that on your flyer. Tomorrow night is Qigong with Dan Landis. There's Dan with the money. So ask him about Qigong if you want to participate in that. It's a really great class. Oneness Blessing is happening right after service in the chapel. And as Kate said, after service, all are welcome for cookies, meet and greet with visitors and newcomers down in the fellowship hall. So let's all take a deep breath. And for us and all that we're holding in our heart, our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now our peace song, another prayer to song.